to the Virtual Ball Boys podcast. My name is Chris, and I am joined once again by my good friend, Matt.
Chris, I'm inviting Prince Chedward to your next birthday party.
I would love that. I would absolutely love that. If anyone missed it,
but,
go ahead, yeah.
But he has to feed you Cheez-Its one at a time in front of everyone.
Huh. You know what? I'm still for it. You know what? Because I get Cheez-Its out of it.
There you go.
That's what matters. Yes, if anyone missed it, Prince Chedward, that's the canonical name of the mascot.
From what I could tell, yes.
Okay. Fantastic. It is the mascot of the Cheez-Its Bowl game. Which is new, I guess, to the Cheez-It Bowl, because I don't think either of us have seen that before.
No.
Today, or yesterday when it happened. Yeah, so that's what's going on. Bowl games are going great. A lot of them are getting canceled, but the important ones remain, like the Cheez-It Bowl and the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Speaking of bowl games, speaking of the Duke's Mayo Bowl specifically, we are currently watching it live as it unfolds at the moment, and
not for the game itself.
Yes, the game itself we are watching live.
No, but we're not watching it because of the game.
Oh, yes, you're
because
correct.
Of the football being played.
No, we don't care about the football. Here's the thing,
Yeah.
folks. If you have not been paying attention to the Duke's Mayo Bowl, it is essentially the big spectacle about this bowl game is that the winner is going to get mayo dumped on them. Both coaches agreed to it.
What wasn't the issue with last year was all of the Gatorade was in like things that looked like mayo
right
tubs, and then there wasn't mayo in them, and everyone got upset. So now
they're cashing in on it. They essentially they were like, people had this expectation that coaches wanted mayo dumped on them, and understandably, people would not want mayo dumped on them, so they probably needed the coaches to agree to it. So now, because they made the spectacle, and because they said that they would donate to charity, I think, if the coach allowed it, both coaches said, all right, yes. In fact, I believe it was Mac Brown, who is the coach of North Carolina, said, you can, like, he said something like, you can dump anything on me, I don't really give a shit. Like, he was just like, as long as we get the win, because you know how football coaches are. And I think Shane Beamer said the same thing. So it was that both coaches are all in on the idea. So I'm hoping that as we are recording this episode today, that we will get to see mayo dumped on these coaches live, and we'll be able to record our reaction to it as it happens. But regardless, folks, welcome to Virtual Ball Boys podcast. We are 2 weeks away from the end of the regular season. We have just 2 weeks left. That's all that's left. That's sitting between us and the playoffs. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's very weird, though, because usually this would be the week. This would be the end of week where we wrap up everything for the regular season, but we still have one extra week this time. It's the new normal in terms of the way that football regular seasons are going to be. It's going to be 18 weeks from here on out. But that reason why we're recording later in the week is because there's no Thursday night football. Everything is now going to be Sunday and Monday, at least for this week. Next week, they're moving 2 games to Saturdays for some reason.
Ooh. Gotta get us primed for that Saturday playoff football.
Yeah, I guess so. But I'm also like, how you're gonna change it to Saturday last second? Like, I don't know how anyone can buy tickets for those right now.
Yeah.
I don't know how anyone can attend a football game in the current state of affairs. But putting that aside, I don't know how anyone's gonna be able to manage, be like, oh yeah, that football game that we bought tickets for? Yeah, we have to go a whole day earlier. Let's figure out. Let's move our lives around for that. But hey, whatever. It's the NFL. They can do whatever they want. And I'm sure that all the people, all the teams that are hosting for that have anticipated a potential scenario for that. With that said, we'll talk about Week 18 next week. Right now we got Week 17 stuff. But before we even get to Week 17 stuff, we got to recap Week 16. And we're going to start with Game of the Week. And this was a tough one. I mean, there's some games that had the winner be multiple scores that could have deserved, Game of the Week recognition. But I think the one that I decided to land on was yet another Thursday Night Football game, 49ers at Titans. I don't know. I look at this and I just think that I felt like it was a really fun where you had this Titans team that seemed like they were going to be down and out. The 49ers were on a roll, and then the Titans just came roaring back. Their defense playing really, really well. And, I think A.J. Brown is so important to this team, clearly, after him being out for so long, and him coming back in this game and really just fucking flashing himself. Oh, well, wait. Sorry.
Wow.
That's not how I wanted to phrase that. But you know what I mean. He's showing showing flashes.
Yes, there you go.
Of being a real great wide receiver, as we know he is. But yes, the Titans are. I'm gonna stop talking now. Titans won. What do you think, Matt?
I think that this game was really interesting to watch because both teams were kind of at this level of, hey, we need to win and do well in order to actually get into the playoffs. 49ers are in a bit of a better spot than the Titans were, but now the Titans are in a much better spot. 49ers still have a pretty good shot, but that's what I think was so interesting about this game in particular, was just these two teams were in different conferences, and they both were fighting for the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Titans, it seemed like the Titans needed this more than the 49ers at this point.
Yeah.
Just because losing that grip on the division lead, it was going to just be brutal for them. Whereas the 49ers, I think, could have, I think the 49ers are still in pretty decent shot to make it to the playoffs just because of the way that the NFC playoff picture is versus the AFC playoff picture. I mean, I think now, last week I joked about how I think they should just get their skis and just get prepared for whenever they lose their playoff game, because it's bound to happen. I still kind of feel like that with the Titans, but I think that now it's kind of certain that, like, all right, I don't think it's going to be a surprise at this point if they do clinch the playoffs, especially since they have the Dolphins and Texans left. Dolphins could beat them, but I think the Texans, I think, will be the game where you're like, all right, the Titans should beat the Texans. The Texans should not sweep this Titans team.
Yep.
In theory, that should not happen. So I think the Titans will make it into the playoffs and should be the AFC South champion, barring some sort of weird, change of circumstances there. The Colts, they're in good shape. They'll probably make the playoffs as a wild card at least. But we'll see what happens on that front. Blowout of the week goes to the football team and the Cowboys. 56 points put on this football team whose defense was looking good in recent weeks, and then after a few brutal losses here and there, they're just starting to look like their season is coming to a close. What was your thoughts on this game, Matt?
That was rough.
Mm-hmm.
It was rough, but also very fun to watch. I was more in it for the want of scoregami, which did not happen.
No, it was
unfortunately.
Close. Yeah,
it was close, but it was fun just to see like how many points the Cowboys could score. At some point, you just gotta like keep doing it.
Yeah,
just keep scoring just for the fun of it. But I don't know.
Yeah,
Washington, I feel a little bit sorry, but I think that this for the Cowboys is just a fucking we're back, and I hope they stay back.
Yeah, no, this definitely feels like the Cowboys are starting to kind of get their footing again. And they have a tough assignment this week. I know it's started to get to the point where the Cardinals are going to be counted out because of just how poorly they've played the last few weeks, but it's a tough game to play. But that said, this is definitely like some good signs that you have right now, where it feels like the offense is getting its footing again. It certainly, the defense has always been there. The defense has always been playing pretty well for them. That's why they keep on winning games despite not performing to the best of their talent. It represents on their roster overall.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of with you where I'm hoping that kind of stays, because I think it would just be nice to see a competent Cowboys team make the playoffs and actually go a good distance. Because it has. I mean, look, we could sit here and be like annoyed about America's team and be annoyed about like the Cowboys and Mike McCarthy and Jerry Jones. Like we don't have to love any of those things, but it is the truth that the Cowboys haven't made it to like the NFC Championship game since the 90s, haven't been to the Super Bowl since the 90s, and there's been so much turnover in terms of NFC champion, in terms of we've seen so many different NFC teams make the Super Bowl this century, and I think only the Cowboys and Vikings are the ones that have not made it. So,
it's nuts.
Oh, and the Lions too.
And the Lions, yeah.
But that's beside.
We already knew that. We didn't need to mention them.
Sorry, Lions. But yeah. So that's what I mean. Like it's a. I would like to see the Cowboys at least get kind of that chance to make a push and make it to the Super Bowl, and this is this game kind of representing like, hey, maybe they actually do have a shot at that.
Yeah.
And Matt, I'm just going to give this to you. Chaos of the week goes to Bears at Seahawks.
I did not expect this. When they announced that Nick Foles was starting, I was ready to throw in the towel for everything. Just because I was like, hey, this is a game we could possibly beat. But then I remembered I had forgotten that Nick Foles is the greatest backup quarterback in NFL history.
Exactly.
I was a fool. This is his first game starting, so of course he's going to play great.
Yeah, exactly. It's the way it works with Nick Foles is he has to be the backup of all backups. He has to be put into a situation where he wasn't chosen to start, that he just happened to start because everyone else in front of him went down. That's how Nick Foles can bring his backup spirit. He played well in this game. The defense did what it could, and plus it was a snow game, and anything weird can happen in those. But it wasn't a great game all throughout, and it didn't seem like the Bears were going to do what they did all throughout. But it's not how you start; it's how you finish. And the Bears fucking finished. Yeah. Holy shit, that was exciting to watch. Do you agree with the notion that, like, in terms of Matt Nagy's coaching tenure, I mean, obviously not great.
Oh, he's gone.
He's gone. But
yeah,
in terms of one debate that I saw posted on my timeline is, do you feel like, compared to other coaches that have been fired in Bears past, like at least this team feels like it's trying?
Yeah,
right now.
I can see that, especially when you compare it to like John Fox and Mark Trestman, the two in between Lovey and Nagy. It is a step up from those two, where it just felt like the Bears were just hiring people for the sake of hiring them, and that we were down in the dumps with the Jets and the Jaguars for so long. And now it feels like, hey, the Bears are this middling team that can actually do something, and we have a good quarterback, have a good defense. We just need a coach who can make the right decisions, and Nagy just isn't good at making decisions.
Yeah. It definitely seems like it's gonna go that way. It sounds like we don't really we haven't really gone deep in terms of like, who's really gonna be on the hot seat come the end of the season. I think Matt Nagy probably is the only coach that I feel like is like a guarantee to be fired. Because I was thinking it could, like, Joe Judge could, but now you're hearing reports that they might keep Joe Judge, and Daniel Jones for another year, which is whatever. It's
Yeah.
what it is. They
I think
they got to dig their own grave at this point, right?
who do you think the most next likely is? I think it's Pete Carroll.
I think it's Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
know.
here's
It's
the
tough to
thing.
think
Most
that would be that's shocking though.
it is
in the grand scheme of things.
Absolutely, but most of the other struggling teams this year have a new head coach this year.
Yeah.
So it's not like we get this one like magical team whose new head coach just like takes them to like these fucking soaring heights.
Yeah.
Most of the teams that are still struggling struggled a shit ton last year, which is why they fired their head coach.
I mean, maybe Vic Fangio.
Yeah, Fangio seems pretty
he could
likely.
be on the cusp. Maybe.
Obviously, Jaguars and Raiders already got rid of theirs for very different reasons.
Yeah, I mean, I hate it for him, but Ron Rivera might. But I mean, he made the playoffs last year, but that was with a bad division. Like,
yeah,
I mean,
I don't think Ron's in as much trouble.
No, I think that there's gonna be injury stuff factored in,
Yeah.
potentially on his side.
For sure.
I think people love playing for Ron Rivera, where I think that the human element of it, I think, is going to kind of play a factor as well, even if the records are not necessarily showing out for it. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think Matt Nagy is really the only guarantee, whereas I think you can maybe debate, like, it could be Vic, it could be Vic Fangio, it could be Pete Carroll.
Tomlin, I don't think they're going to get rid of Tomlin yet.
No, they would not get rid of Tomlin.
A lot of people are saying fire Tomlin because the Steelers are going 500.
But it would be the first
because that's just what Steelers are.
But like Tomlin had a winning record every fucking year until this year. Like, you gotta give him a little bit of a break. You know, like, I don't know. I feel like he's such a good coach. You can't get rid of him. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe if you are really desperate for a change, but if Mike Tomlin hits the market, he needs to be number one coaching candidate.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
I think he's I think he's very good at what he does. But yeah, will be interesting. Hey, we got 2 weeks to find that out. This was going to be the week that we thought we would see some head coaches fired, because this is the moment where like teams can start actually reaching out to do interviews. We saw the Jaguars request interview for like Byron Leftwich and a few other coordinators. But no one else has been fired yet. I think there's a good chance after this week you might see something happen, but I think you're probably gonna see a lot of the coach firings happen probably the Monday after week 18 at this point. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens. So if you haven't listened to it yet, we just uploaded the Gaming Coop Game of the Year 2021 Video Game of the Year specifically, where we talked about our favorite games that either came out this year or that we played this year in general. But instead of Video Game of the Year, we're gonna talk our favorite NFL game this year. Our favorite game that we felt like was the most fun to watch overall, just because, you know, we're uploading this on New Year's Eve. You know, we're capping off 2021 with a big old bang, I guess. Maybe.
You sound so enthused.
Yeah, oh man. If there's one thing that 2021 makes me feel, it's enthused. But yes, so we're gonna just talk about what our favorite games that we've watched this year. Matt, why don't you start?
I'm going to start off with, I think, the game that has really set the tone for the entire season, and that's Monday night, week 1, Raiders versus Ravens. One of the strangest football games I have ever seen. Tied mostly with another one from this year that Chris is going to talk about. I just loved how back and forth this game was, especially between two teams who you did not think should be, like, now in week 17, we're like, oh, both these teams are middle of the pack teams. But going into the season, the Ravens were Super Bowl favorites, and the Raiders were, what the fuck are you doing? And to have the Raiders come out on top in the end in, like, the first game in Allegiant Stadium, and just shock everyone in that regard was really fun.
Yeah, it was. That was a wild one, and it definitely was a stunner and a game that kind of, like you said, it really spoke to what kind of craziness was going to unfold. And with the Ravens, it felt like, that they kind of regained their footing in the early months and then kind of began to, stumble a bit. But the Raiders, that was the start of their 3-game winning streak, and then John Gruden happened, and then all hell broke loose after that as well, in terms of just them, them having off the field stuff happen to them, and then just everything else, on the field just kind of started to fall apart as well. And so both those teams have just been brutal to watch in some capacity this year. So when they got to meet on that Monday night, it was, I think, they're both for both teams, their most special game. It feels like in the grand scheme of things. Ravens had some good games. But the Raiders, that was their shining moment before it all went to shit. For sure. I think my number one game, and it might just be for the meme of it all, I think the one I enjoyed the most was Packers Bengals.
Yes.
And it really just came down to the fact that it was, first of all, it was just a beautiful game in terms of just a shootout between, Aaron Rodgers and Joe Burrow, two great quarterbacks. But fuck Aaron Rodgers. But in terms of the ending, the overtime, or and not even even before that,
last 5 minutes.
Yeah, last 5 minutes of just getting close to the end zone, not quite making it, then having your kicker go out there and miss the kick. The amount of missed kicks throughout the game across the board was insane. And finally, Mason Crosby, who has not been good for the Packers at all this year, and had been in the past. He's been one of the more consistent kickers in the league, but this year has just not been good. And finally, he comes out and he ends up kicking the game-winning field goal, but it just took so long and so many tries, and that was the week that it was a spotlight was on kickers in general, because across the board that week, if you remember, there was a ton of missed kicks that happened that week, and this was just the culmination of that. This was the grand representation of everything that had to do with the kickers. It was phenomenal in so many ways, and I think it was a great sign for the Bengals, and I don't want to jinx anything, for the Bengals going forward, because I would love to see them be the ones that win the AFC North, compared to everything else that we thought in the preseason. But I feel like it set the tone for this Bengals team, that they're in really, really good, that this team is better than what we thought they were, and now they're on the brink of potentially winning their division and hosting a playoff game in January. So that's really cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Next up,
I will also choose a Packers game. Packers at Cardinals. Packers at Cardinals is one of my favorite postseason games ever. Back in 2015, just whenever these teams play, there's such a great amount of back and forth, and it really seems like they're both giving each other a run for their money. I think the Cardinals have definitely faltered a little bit, but at the time, these two teams were the powerhouses.
Yep.
And I wish that it was a bit more close now, but at the time, both teams going back and forth was really fun. Cardinals even had a bit of a comeback going on, and there was just this unceremonious interception to end the game, and I was just like, oh man.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That was I mean, I know that was your reaction to it because of the not liking the Packers, but for me, it was, the whole thing was an emotional roller coaster in terms of that. It seemed like the Packers were just dominating the Cardinals throughout, and then the Cardinals had the comeback, like you said, and then that final drive was just that was the most on edge of my seat that I had been all year, in terms of just okay, can the Cardinals do it? Can they pull it off? Can they stay undefeated? Holy crap, this is insane. And the fact that it ended in the interception, by Rasul Douglas, who has, by the way, like since that game, has been really one of their better defensive players. And that guy was on the practice squad for the Cardinals like earlier this year, which is just wild. But the fact that it kind of culminated in that was I feel like a fitting ending in retrospect, just because of where the Cardinals are at now and where the Packers are in comparison. But yes, definitely I can understand the deflating feeling of it, where like it came so close to an epic comeback. But I think it was still a very, very cool ending, and one that's gonna be memorable from the season
for sure.
My second game, and this is just speaking to the spectacle I think of it all, was Bucks Patriots. It was a strange game to watch. I didn't expect it to feel as weird as it was, but it did feel weird watching Brady be on another team that wasn't the Patriots go against his former team. It was a low scoring affair. It wasn't anything amazing, but I just don't think I've ever seen a regular season game be so hyped up, so anticipated, and like have like feel like it was a Super Bowl. And I'm just where those two teams are now too, like they both ended up kind of hitting this like their stride, it feels like, when this game happened, because the Patriots went on a run after this, and then the Bucks, I forget if they really stumbled that much, but they both are in very good position to make the playoffs in their respective conferences. But I think it is insane to me though. Like it feels like, Mac Jones has evolved since this game. Like he had some pretty solid moments overall, but like think of where he is now as a quarterback, being a little bit more reliable, and compared to where it was then, and think of the Buccaneers defense, which has been injured and been kind of it has kind of faltered since this game, how good they were that night. Like there's just a lot of elements about it too where you can kind of look back in comparison. But yeah, just a very strange spectacle game that I thought was pretty good, pretty interesting.
Yeah, I actually didn't watch that one that much, but the spectacle of it and what it meant was just very cool.
Yeah. What's your last game?
My last game, I already talked about it a little bit. Bears and Seahawks, just the nuttiness of it. Nick Foles, what a guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's to say there. I apologize.
No, you're good. We needed a good like snow game. I know the Patriots Bills, the first iteration of it kind of was looking like that, but this was like a rugged, weird game, and I totally understand how enjoying it, especially as a Bears fan, just being like, we need some sort of joy this year. This is where I could put my joy is in a Nick Foles backup performance of, that gives them a nice win, overall. Yeah, in my last game, really, it's not even the game. It's just the final moment of the game. Vikings-Lions. That ending drive for the Lions after the Vikings came back to take the lead, and it was like, oh my god, here we go again. The Lions are going to lose. And the fact that Jared Goff found Amon St. Brown in the end zone, and that just celebration that you saw that entire stadium go into. It's so good. It's one of those things where this is why I root for teams that are shitty, because it's that really fun feeling of like, oh my god, they finally are going to do it. They're finally going to get a win. They're finally going to actually, get rid of the demons temporarily for just one day. They get rid of this like cloud over their head to celebrate something. And since then, the Lions have won again, but that particular moment was just so special. And I for a really rough season to go through, to have that one moment is really, really cool and really, really nice.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. And that was your Goaty conversation. I'm checking over at the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Looks like there's 50 seconds left on the clock, so I do think we're going to be able to see a coach drenched in mayo in a second here.
For sure. They said they're going to do it after the trophy.
After the trophy?
After they present the trophy or something.
Oh, I hope they stay on TV for that long. I mean,
me too.
I hope they don't cut away. Well, we have to see it.
I'm sure we'll find it on Twitter too.
That's true.
If needed.
It should be on Twitter for sure. All right. We'll get you our reactions to that, and plus we'll do our Week 17 picks right after these messages. It has been 2 years since we started Team Chaos Productions, and we would not be where we are today without the help of Anchor. You've heard us talk about it all the time, but let me remind you, this completely free platform gives creators the tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast from your computer or phone. Once done, Anchor will distribute your podcast to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more, so you don't have to. You can also make some money on the episodes with no minimum listenership. It's everything you'd ever want in a podcasting platform, so download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Happy podcasting.
Sick of talking about video games with people who just want to be toxic? Me too. So join us over at the Gaming Coop. We come together each month to talk about what we love about video games. Discussion topics range from our favorite soundtracks to the best relationships between characters. We also have some fun segments in which we play some trivia or build our school of gaming. Find us on Anchor or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Game on!
And we're back.
Hello.
It is time for our Week 17. Week 17.
Oh my god.
Picks.
There's one more week after this.
There's still one more week.
Jeez.
Yep. Susie, we actually have breaking news coming in. We found the eviscerated body of Fluffy Cloud Gamer after Havana Music completely just annihilated him in the picks competition last week. It was bad. The only saving grace was the Cincy win over the Ravens, but everything else, my chaos didn't work out, nor did my guarantee. You got your chaos and your
got my
guarantee.
Chaos, and I got most of our head-to-head stuff.
Yes, you got 4 of the 5. And that swung the whole competition because it was, I think I had like a 2-point lead or something like that. You now have a 5-point lead in the competition. That's how much of a swing this week was. So as it stands right now, so you went 11-5 this week. I got 7 points because of the bonus.
Because of my chaos. Yep.
I went 8-8. And lost my guarantee and chaos, so my net gain was -1. And so as it stands right now, I have a 139-100 record with 34 points.
And I've got 140-99 record with 39 points.
So there you go. But it's still, we got 2 weeks.
We got 2 weeks left.
And I can narrow the gap a little bit. Or at least try my best. I don't know in terms of what the COVID situations are for teams. I know the Colts have Carson Wentz to worry about. I don't know about...
but he still has a chance to play at least.
Yeah, I don't know about the other teams right now in terms of who's greatly impacted by the...
Broncos just had a thing today.
Okay. Yeah, so that's stuff to keep in mind as we kind of dive into the picks. Why don't you get us started with the first game?
Sure, I'm going to try to do this and check to see when the Mayo Bowl is ending.
Yeah.
Atlanta Falcons versus the Buffalo Bills. All games starting on Sunday, like Chris said earlier. Bills coming over their dominant win against the Patriots. Falcons just trying to tread some water.
There you go. Just real quick, the coach of South Carolina, who looks like he's gonna get mayo dumped on him, just got Gatorade dumped on him. So get ready for that Gatorade mayo mix. I'm going with Buffalo here.
I'm also going with Buffalo.
All right.
I want them to keep winning, stay on top of the division, fucking do it.
Yep. All right. It is the virtual Ball Boys Bowl.
Yes.
New York Giants versus the Chicago Bears. Matt, do you think the Bears could go 2 in a row?
Considering we're probably facing Mike Glennon and Jake Fromm, I believe we can do that. Yes.
I agree with you. I think the Bears are going to take care of business here. I thought about this as a guarantee, but I have another one in mind.
All right. Next up, we have Kansas City versus Cincinnati. Both teams leading their division. Kansas City, the only team to have clinched a playoff spot. Bengals trying to win their division. How's this matchup going to go?
I think... man. This is a tough one. I'm gonna say it's the Chiefs. I want the Bengals to do well down the stretch. I want them to win the division. It'd be great if they won this game. But I just think that the Chiefs are on a roll at this point, and I don't know who's gonna stop them at this moment. So I'm gonna go with the Chiefs.
Let's have some fun, shan't we? I'm gonna team cast the Bengals.
Love it.
If they were in Arrowhead, I probably would not, but I don't know. Bengals can be surprising, and I hope they continue to surprise. And this would be a fucking statement game. You know what would be amazing is if the Bearcats won tomorrow or today when this is going out, and then Cincinnati beat the Chiefs that weekend. Cincinnati would be popping. Oh
yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I think you and I. Listen. I want to. You know. I don't want to speak this into existence necessarily because we could come to regret it later. I just think that we're honorary Cincinnatians, you know?
Sure.
Right. At least for the next like week or two.
Next few days, yeah.
Because I don't know about you, but I'm rooting for the Bengals to win this division.
At this point, yeah.
Yeah, I want Cincinnati to win the national title for college football. Like so.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm all in on this. The only thing is I know that they're. What is it? What Cincinnati has like chili, right? That's
their big thing. Yep.
Yeah,
Skyline chili.
Yeah, Skyline chili. I just don't eat chili though. So
no,
I guess I can't be a Cincinnati.
Nope.
Cincinnatian through and through.
That's their like staple city food. Chicago has a bunch. New York has a bunch.
Yeah.
Cincy's got chili.
Oh my God! All right, so there's. By the way, they just cut to the sideline.
I know. I was looking.
Where they're showing. It looks like they have like a mat down with an empty chair with a bucket of mayo, and that is. We're getting close to that right now.
I hate mayonnaise, so this is gonna be like. I might have a reaction to this.
See, I don't mind mayonnaise, but I still think it's hilarious to get this goopy white stuff on you. All right, moving on. Miami Dolphins at the Tennessee Titans. This is an intriguing game, more intriguing than maybe we would have thought back in like November.
Yeah.
And so now the Titans, of course, are coming off of a win over the 49ers. Dolphins coming off of their win over the Saints. What do you think is going to happen?
I think that the Dolphins are going to continue their streak. I think that the Dolphins should not be as good of a team as they are, but they are. And even though the Titans were able to beat the 49ers, I still kind of have more faith in Miami. So I'm going to ride the Dolphin into the sunset, as it were.
There you go, and I too am picking the Dolphins because I'm riding my waves. I'm sorry, Dolphins. I've been shitting on you the last few weeks. You deserve credit. I'm Team Chaosic Miami right now.
Yes.
God, I gotta do it. I'm so sorry, Miami.
Yeah.
I've always loved your colors. I just didn't want to have faith in you, but now I do.
It's good. They are a good team.
Yeah, surprisingly so.
Next up, Las Vegas Raiders take on the Colts. We talked about the Colts potentially dealing with some COVID things, but Colts definitely had a statement win over the Cardinals. The Raiders have had a couple weird wins, but they are wins. Will they be able to continue that trend?
I feel like even given the circumstance with Carson Wentz, I still think the Colts are a better team than the Raiders. I think that the Raiders have just gotten some clunkers in terms of the Browns and the Broncos. Both teams kind of on a directionless path. And I feel like the Raiders are going to get their comeuppance here. So I'm going to go Colts.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor's great. Jonathan Taylor for MVP, please, for the love of God.
It's not going to happen, but I hope. I would hope so,
I
too.
need it to happen. If he started the season as good as he is, would he get it?
I think there's a good chance, yeah.
Okay, cool. Just curious if there's something anyone non-quarterback can do to get it. I'm taking the Colts as well.
There you go. I would think so, because I feel like the quarterbacks this year haven't been as good as Jonathan Taylor has been. So, I don't know. I would like to think it would happen, but I just feel like the MVP award has just become the quarterback reward. So, we'll see, I guess.
Yeah.
The Jacksonville Jaguars at the New England Patriots. Patriots coming off of the tough loss to the Bills. And needed the Bills to lose in order to get back in the division conversation. Jaguars just cannot catch a break.
I'm going to pick the Patriots here, but the real question is, Chris, is this the week that the head coach firing catches up with Jacksonville?
Yeah, right. The trend. No, I don't think so. I think they're just gonna kind of have to ride this losing streak out. I think they might clinch the
number one seed.
They're probably gonna clinch the number one seed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Number one
pick,
overall pick
yeah.
rather. Yeah.
All right. Tampa Bay Buccaneers take on the New York Jets. I don't know if we need to talk about this one too much.
No. I think you and I are in agreement that the Jets are going to Bucks.
Yep. Bucks all the way.
There you go. Philadelphia Eagles at Washington Football Team. Hey, Eagles continue to do their thing. They're still they're winning a lot of games. Washington did not win handily last week. So what do you think's gonna happen?
I feel super confident in the Eagles. Obviously, they can't win the division anymore. But I think that I think that they still have a really good shot at making the playoffs. I think they probably will make the playoffs. Yeah. I'm really confident in that, so I'm going to guarantee the Eagles.
You and I are in agreement with the guarantee.
Nice.
I'm also going with the Eagles here. Yeah. I'm just like, how I know that this is an example. Weird stuff happens. I've always said this. There's weird stuff that can happen when two teams play each other within a 3-week span, that the loser of the original game tends to win these games. So this is a guarantee. I'm not I'm super duper confident in, but just because I think that the Eagles have played so well and the Washington has played so poorly, I think the Eagles take care of business here.
Yep. Big agree. Next up, we have the Los Angeles Rams taking on the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson's still not practicing, though Tyler Huntley is back off the COVID list. Rams are in a pretty good position to win the division, though they haven't played perfect recently. We also did not talk about the playoff scenarios, so we should do that at the end.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Usually we do that before the picks.
Yeah,
but...
I know. We just forgot.
Yeah,
okay.
That's okay. I'm picking the Rams here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Rams. I feel like I can't really make this super frisky here. I would like the idea of the Ravens to win this game, but I just think the Rams are finding their stride right now. Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers lost to the Texans last week. That's concerning. Broncos lost to the Raiders last week. That's concerning. I have a lot of concerns about both of these teams. What do you think?
I have to think that this is where the Chargers win, but I'm not certain. I'm going to pick them because I want them to do well, but it's wild that they can't fully get things together. Granted, they had a lot of COVID issues last week, but still.
Yeah.
picking the Chargers.
I think that's the big thing here is that they did have COVID issues, and that's probably why they lost that game. But it's still not a great thing when you take an L to the Texans. So I'm gonna go Chargers as well. Yep. But who knows what could happen in this game.
Houston Texans take on the 49ers. Houston Texans somehow have 4 wins this season. The 49ers coming off of a rough loss against Tennessee, but will they be able to bounce back and help get themselves into the playoffs?
I'm going to take the 49ers here. This is what we're talking about. You should not lose to the Texans. Real quick, Matt, do you have the Mayo thing in front of you on your screen right now?
No, because they're not showing it on ESPN.
Okay, I have it up on ESPN3. They're doing the closing ceremony right now, and he's just about to get the Mayo dumped on him.
ESPN3.
You don't have that on your TV. I think you're going to need to pull it up on your computer.
Shit.
I'm watching him get dumped. I am in the process of watching him get dumped.
You need to describe it to me, and then I got to find a video of it.
Yeah, so he just got dumped. It is grotesque.
Oh God!
It's kind of it kind of just looks like when I
found the video.
Okay, it looks like when I get a can of cream of chicken soup, and like when you open up the can and you kind of get that weird like it kind of like it's like a solid but a liquid at the same time as it kind of comes out of the can.
I'm so glad he was wearing a hat for his own sake.
That is kind of that's kind of the feeling that I'm getting out of watching that Mayo dump.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, congratulations, South Carolina, on winning the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
Yep. Congratulations to the coach for all of the Mayo. What game are we on?
Did you pick the 49ers?
I picked 49ers.
Okay, all right, we can move on then. The Arizona Cardinals at the Dallas Cowboys. The boys coming off that dominant win, while the Cardinals are just slipping. What do you got?
I gotta go with the boys. As much as that pains me, as much as I want the Cardinals to do well, the Cowboys are just playing so good.
This feels like a game where I feel like things could turn.
Mm-hmm.
That like just when you are about to count a team out, they just come out and then like beat the Cowboys. Like I feel that could happen.
I'd be totally down for that.
But I am in agreement with you. I'm going to go Cowboys because I can't pull the trigger on this team.
Yep. Carolina Panthers take on the New Orleans Saints. Saints coming off of that devastating loss to the Dolphins. Will they be able to bounce back against this floundering Panthers team with Sam Darnold back as the quarterback?
It's tough, but I still feel like the Saints defense is the most talented unit on this team, in this game, I should say. So I'm gonna go Saints. Not super confident about that, but I'm gonna go Saints.
Yeah, the Saints have a lot to play for still. Panthers do not, so I think that the Saints will take care of this.
Yeah. Lions at the Seahawks. This is this was the game that we thought would be the Lions' first win.
Mm-hmm.
So will it be their third win, Matt?
It could be. It legitimately could be. But just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to pick the Seahawks. I don't think the Seahawks lose to quote-unquote easy games in a row.
I think they do. I'm going Lions.
Awesome.
Gotta do it.
Gotta do it. Sunday night, we have the Vikings versus the Packers. Packers trying to get that number 1 seed. The Vikings trying to stay alive. How's this matchup looking for you?
I am pretty confident about the Packers winning this. I think the Vikings have been a nice story this year of just being utterly fucking weird. But I don't think that they have it in them to sweep this Packers team. So I'm going to go Pack.
Yeah, Packers are probably going to win. I'm going to stick with them as much as it sucks.
Yeah. And finally, Cleveland Browns at the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is potentially the last time that Big Ben Roethlisberger is going to be playing against the Browns. And that's
essentially the last time he plays in Heinz Field. Because they're away next week.
So, definitely an interesting game. What do you think's going to happen here?
I think the Browns are going to win. I don't think it's going to be a happy ending for Mr. Ben. I'm
going to defer there. I think the Browns have just been playing so poorly as of late that I think the Steelers... I think the Steelers end up coming out of this alive. But, who knows? Anything can happen, I guess.
Cool.
All right, so then that means we disagreed on 1, 2, 3. I think we're at 3.
Yep.
Because the only other disagreement outside the last 2 that we had were this was the Chiefs-Bengals game. I think everywhere else we did agree upon. So there you go.
There we go. All right, would you like to hear some playoff scenarios?
Hit me with it.
All right, so in the AFC, the Chiefs have clinched the AFC West there in the playoffs. Buffalo can get into the playoffs if they win, and then those are all ties. Okay, so they win and Baltimore loses, or they win and the Chargers and the Raiders both lose.
Okay.
And then a lot of weird tie stuff that I'm not going to talk about. Cincy clinches the North if they win. If they win, they win the division.
You could do it. You could do it, Bengals.
They can also clinch a playoff berth if, for some reason, they tie and then a lot of other combinations of teams lose.
Yes. There you go.
Yes. Indy can clinch the playoffs if they win. Kansas City can get the number 1 seed if they win and Tennessee loses. New England can clinch the playoffs if they win and either Miami or Las Vegas lose. Tennessee can clinch the AFC South if they win or Indy loses. And they can clinch a playoff berth if some combination of the Chargers, Baltimore, and New England lose. If 2 of those 3 teams lose, then the Tennessee's in the playoffs. They win the division if they win or Indy loses. Now the NFC.
What was the three teams again?
Los Angeles Chargers, Baltimore, and New England.
Probably Baltimore and maybe Los Angeles.
Maybe Los Angeles, yeah.
Yeah.
In the NFC, the Cowboys, Packers, Buccaneers have all clinched their divisions. Arizona and Los Angeles are both in the playoffs. No division winner there yet. Green Bay, they get the number 1 overall seed if they win and Dallas loses. Los Angeles will clinch the West if they win and Arizona loses. Arizona cannot clinch the West this week. The Philadelphia Eagles will clinch a playoff berth if they win and Minnesota. Okay, if they win and then Minnesota plus either New Orleans or San Francisco win. So Minnesota has to lose. Oh, no. Oh, this is weird. Philly win plus Minnesota loss plus New Orleans loss, or Philly win plus Minnesota loss plus San Francisco win. So I think that just kind of like pushes some other teams out. Anyway, yeah, San Francisco can clinch playoff berth if they win and New Orleans loses. And that is all.
There you go. Yeah. It's why this was going to be. I was going to be like, all right, let me see all the potential playoff matchups that could happen this week. And I looked at the AFC. And I was just like, nope,
no, thank you.
I'm gonna wait a week. I'll wait 1 more week before I start making those up. But yeah, it is wild how wide open the AFC still is. NFC definitely feels like it's coming to a close. Really, the only interesting things are going to be what the seeding is, but. Obviously you still have the few wildcard teams that need to be decided. I do think it's going to be 49ers, Eagles, but...
That seems pretty likely to me.
Yeah, but who knows at the same time.
The Falcons are still in contention, technically.
Yeah, right. The Saints, the Falcons, the Vikings, like, I guess those weird ones can sneak in, but I think you got the other 2 first and foremost.
Yep.
All right. And with that, folks, that is going to do it for this week's episode. Some housekeeping to go through real quick. First of all, Table Party Evergreen is out now.
Yes.
It is our holiday edition of Table Party where we all came to the table with new characters, and we have a new DM in Kelsey. So definitely tune in. It is a very, very good one.
Give her some love in the comments too. She did a great job.
Yes, she did fantastic. And also, like I said earlier, the Game and Coop, the Game of the Year conversations we had came up. We each had our own Game of the Year brought to the table. Of course, you could take a wild guess what Matt's was. Just kidding. I think that pretty much does that in terms of the current. Oh, and
Dr. Shane.
Of course,
Yep, and Dr. Shane's gonna come back.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
yes.
Edited an episode today. It'll probably be up maybe tomorrow, and then we'll hopefully have a better recording schedule.
Yes, we are in discussions to have our next episode soon. But yes, and then like I said earlier, the Over Heavy podcast is the latest episode out has you as our as the guest of that episode. I don't know who's this week's guest is going to be, but you'll have to wait to find out.
I believe it's Skylar, and you can bleep that out if you don't want anyone to know.
Well, I think that episode's gonna end up going out like it might even be out by the time that this comes out because I think that those usually come out on Friday, so
yep,
it may not even be a spoiler. So go ahead and check that out if you so choose. We have a lot of stuff going on with all of our content. Hope you guys go out and enjoy that stuff. This week we did have the UBFL scheduled, but it's the holidays and we're like, fuck it, we don't have to do it this week. So next week is what we're tentatively scheduling for week 6 of the UBFL. So stay tuned for that. Otherwise, thank you all so much for listening, and we will see you next week.
Good year and good ball. Virtual Ball Boys has been brought to you by Team Chaos Productions. Find us on Twitter at Virtual Ball Boys and find more of our work at Team Chaos Pods.